Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the HSGT Roundup. This is a basketball preview. Basketball is on the horizon. We still have football playoffs. We aren't done talking about the gridiron, but it is time to talk about the hardwood. And the guru out here,
I'm excited about
our Dick Vitale, Andy Katz of sorts, is Mr. Will C. Holden. He is ready for an exciting season of basketball.
That's true.
And as much talent as we do have out on the football field left out there, there is also plenty of talent out on the basketball court. Will has assembled a quick little early look at a top 10 of sorts.
Sure. I think there's no question this year that the Big Eight is sort of the league to beat. My top two teams this year are going to be North and Centennial. A pair of teams that it's going to be kind of tough to pick between. Just the fact that really, North returns a heck of a lot. I mean, great size up front with Marcus Baugh and Dorian Butler. But really, the guy to look at is a guy, Aaron Peck, who's really getting it done on the football field right now. Gets it done in the basketball court as well. Averages 17.5 points a game. And as if that weren't enough, they get Deshaun Taylor. He's a transfer from Rancho Verde. A guy that can straight cast. It made 10 threes in one game last year. And Centennial is really an interesting story, Chris. They have a little Fab Five of their own. There's five freshmen this year that could potentially start for Centennial. They're the three that likely will start are Cedric Bearfield. He's a freshman point guard, one of the best in the nation as far as freshmen go, and especially at the point guard position. Another guy that they don't necessarily have. Centennial hasn't always had a lot of height and a lot of size. Orion Helikthal, I'm going to pronounce that, butcher it probably for the first couple weeks of the season, but he's a guy that's a legit 6'7", and can really get it down to the post. Victor Lewis as well, a guy on the wing. And then, the rest of that big, you've got, Roosevelt and Corona, and you can't sleep on King Santiago or Poly either. Roosevelt, they lost a huge presence inside with the graduation of Shannon Fowler and Udon Osaku. But they bring back a nice 1-2 scoring punch, Kendall Brown and Jalen Young. And then King probably has one of the most electrifying players in the league with Nico Turner back at point guard. He's not going to be one you're going to want to miss. And
Centennial, though, in the battle at the top there between them and North is kind of maybe, what do you call it, the freshman phenoms versus the veterans.
Exactly. I mean, that's why it will be so entertaining because, and you also got at Centennial a guy, Sam Finley, is a transfer from King. That's kind of that one veteran presence. So that's going to be important for him, I think, and just kind of give them maybe a little bit of a steady hand in that backcourt. But yeah, I mean, they're talking about if they're not going to win a CIF title or even a state title a couple of years from now, then it'll be a real disappointment for Centennial because these kids can really play.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting to see them as freshmen, but give them another year or two to work on their games, and we should have a real show out there at Centennial. They obviously dominate on the football field already, and I mean, they went to the CIF title game last year. They played it was at USC at the Galen Center, I think, versus Mater Dei. So
yeah, Mater Dei ran through just about the entire Inland Empire in the playoffs last year. So they're certainly a team to beat statewide, but locally, Centennial is certainly going to be a force.
Well, filling out the top 10, you have North, Centennial, Cajon, Eisenhower, Vista Marietta, Summit, Elsinore, San Bernardino, Rancho Verde, and Temecula Valley. And a couple of those teams in Vista and Temecula Valley are teams that are out there in the Southwestern League, another competitive league for you. Give us a taste of that.
I think the Southwestern League is, and I think kind of area-wide this year, you're going to see a lot of very talented freshmen, and there's three very good ones in the Southwestern League. A Great Oak point guard, Latrell Franklin, who's the younger brother of San Diego State point guard, LeBradford Franklin. Temecula Valley's got one, Nolan Thompson, small forward, 6'3", very athletic kid. And then Chaparral's got one as well, Deshae Wade, another sort of a small forward guy, and hold his own in the paint a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, those three are going to be exciting players to watch for the next 4 years. But I think Vista Marietta is probably the tops in that league just because they have the steady hand coming back with Dan Gwynn. He's averaging 18 a game a season ago. He's back with his two wingmates, Jordan Perry and Garrett Roldan, I believe it is. No real presence inside for them, which could be a little bit of a hindrance. But those three guys can really fill it up from the guard position. The one team in that league that really does have some nice size is Temecula Valley. With Nolan Thompson, that freshman on the wing, As well as, I'm losing. Brandon Rosser is a guy that's a small forward, legit 6'7", probably about as athletic a 6'7" big man as you're going to get in that league. The league champ, Murrieta Valley, lost a lot, and they promptly tanked in the playoffs last year when they lost their leader, Justin Gudger, went down with an injury. But Jackson Helms is back. Darius Butler's back. Those guys can score a little bit. Reed Shackelford's back at the point guard position. So they've got some depth there. And then, just watch out for Chaparral and Great Oak. They got some great individual talents.
And then moving on from there, the San Andreas League, that is led by Cajon, who we have in our 3 position in the top 10.
Sure.
Talk about the depth in that league. San Bernardino, also a good team as well.
Sure. And for Cajon, I really like their inside-outside punch. They've got Devin Jones is a point guard for them. Coming back, he's their leading scorer guy that got about 16 a game last year. And Bill Belvin's nice inside presence for him. Guy that's about 6'6", put up 10 points and 10 rebounds a season ago. And San Bernardino, they lost a little bit, but they've got Kaleem Perkins. He's, I believe, their quarterback as well on the football field. Not exactly as successful a football team as they are a basketball team, but he's a guy that's versatile at 6'4", averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, and he's also got James Jenkins and Javon Rabone back on the wings for him. And the rest of that league, it's I don't think it's quite as competitive as the Southwest, but Arroyo Valley has got their leading scorer back, and Stephen Marshall, and Colton returns their 2 leading scorers in Richie Ragu and Richard Medina. And so, they've got a little bit of depth there in that league, and certainly enough to make things interesting.
Ragu, does his family make the pasta sauce?
I don't believe it's spelled the same way.
Oh, not the same way. Anyways, moving on to the Citrus Belt Rev, a team that is traditionally at the top there. You don't have them in your top 10 this year because they lost a lot of players, but are you still expecting them to be good?
There's a couple of conferences that are kind of reloading, and Citrus Belt's one of them. The other would be the Sunkist, which we'll get to next. But Rev was a team that was 25-7 last year, but lost virtually everybody off of that team. Point guard Jamal Ellis was a pretty good fixture on that team last year, but was really just kind of a role player. He's going to be the lone starter returning for that team, kind of trying to get them back there. The team that I like in that league more than Rev would be Eisenhower. They lose league MVP Bernard Ireland and Keon Sales. But Marvell Harris returns. He's a legit talent. Scored 21 against Mater Dei. We mentioned them earlier in a game where Eisenhower really gave them a look. And obviously they've got great coaching there at Eisenhower, so that's not going to be a problem. Kind of trying to reload there. Whereas Redlands is going to have a whole lot of trouble reloading without Ashton Robinson, as a guy that averaged 32 points a game last year, took about 40 shots a game for him as well. So he kind of was a do-all for them last year.
Haven't seen domination at Redlands like that since John Murphy in the 60s and Pep in the 70s.
That's true.
When Pep used to run point over there for the Terriers.
Pep was that the 70s, 60s, maybe?
I'm older than I look.
Anyways, moving on from there, the Sunkist
Right.
Summit all the way to the title game last year.
Right.
You have them in your 6th position this year. They look to be good once again.
The biggest thing that they're going to lose is Steve Hickey, their head coach. That's going to be kind of tough. He's the AD now and kind of relinquished that position to John Viensek. I'm going to pronounce that wrong all year as well. But they lose pretty much everybody out of their starting lineup last year. The one guy they do return is Devin Alexander. He's a nice little player. I mean, he could fill it up a little bit last year down the stretch for them. Had a couple games where he really got hot shooting the basketball. He could potentially be a nice little piece for them, and they could potentially build around him. Patriots the same way. They pretty much lose everybody. The one thing that they've got to build around there is the 6'8" Thomas Folsom. He's back, but he's kind of a lumbering big guy. He's got a way to go as far as kind of getting his waist settled.
Mm-hmm. And then moving on from there to the Inland Valley, Rancho Verde leads the way. You have them in your 9 position. I don't think their quarterback Carlos Hernandez plays basketball, which I know that you're disappointed about, but they do have some talented players.
I watched these guys, and Rancho could be a team that recovers. They lost a few good players to transfers. One of them being Deshaun Taylor, which we mentioned earlier. But they've got kind of a nucleus back, and I saw that nucleus play a couple times this summer. The guys like Jordan Grace, guys like Jalen Hall, Trey Nottingham, Lance Jones. Again, they don't necessarily have the great size, and they never necessarily have. But that they've got a good group. If they can kind of work together as a team. Lance Jones is a guy that can maybe play a little bit of the 4. So I like that group. And Canyon Springs, doesn't necessarily have. That's what I said. Yeah, Inland Valley, kind of a top-heavy league aside from Rancho Verde. Canyon Springs lost Merv Lindsay's, went to Kansas, kind of a big hubbub last year about that. But Canyon Springs returns Chris Alexander, very athletic two guards, and then another guy maybe to keep an eye on in that league is Brendan Bates. He's about 6'4", gained a couple inches last year. I think he was about 6'2" last year. So Valley View, that could be another guy to watch in that league.
Then moving on from there over to the Sun Belt League, Elsinore, we know they can play on the football field. They're smash mouth out there. How do they do on the basketball court?
They're going to be a team that could they're not going to surprise because they had a lot of success last year. It took North to overtime, obviously, in a playoff game last year. So they have probably one of the better 1-2 punches in the area with EJ Twyman, Earl Twyman, whatever you want to call him. I think he's probably a little disappointed his parents named him Earl, so he's going by EJ these days. Between him and Lawrence Chamberlain, both guys that really can fill it up and score quite a bit. I think Elsinore is unquestionably the leader in that Sun Belt League. Paloma Valley loses some real firepower. They'll return Jared Matu and Jacob Mina, both more kind of role players last year for them. So you kind of wonder what they're going to bring in that number 2 spot. So yeah, definitely Elsinore. Twyman's going to be a fun one to watch. That's the legit D1 talent.
And then out in the Mountain Pass, not quite as a powerful league as some of the others, but still you have a couple teams here that you want to keep an eye on.
Sure. Citrus Hill probably have one of the better post players in the region. Anthony Rounds, the guy that really can get it done. He's about 6'7", 6'8"-ish, averaged 19 points, 10 boards a season ago. As athletic a true post player as you're going to find in this area. But he's got pretty much nothing around him, so that's going to be a struggle for him trying to establish himself when teams are going to be focusing on him. But he might not, at the end of the season, end up even being the best postman in that league because Tahawkwitz has got a kid that's a freshman coming in. Nicholas Pete, keep an eye on. He's just been lighting it up. I believe he plays for the Compton Magic, which is a very established AAU team, oozing with potential. Another 6'6", 6'7", sort of a guy that's not going to do nothing but get better.
Yeah, 6'7" as a freshman.
Got a lot of room
to grow. Definitely been eating his Wheaties, that's for sure.
Say so.
I know Pep was disappointed that Davian Payne's not going to be suiting it up for Citrus Hill. No chance that the Payne gets out there?
They're not allowed to just run over people on the basketball court. So
unfortunate. Mm-hmm. Well, we do have a couple weeks left of football, and we will have full coverage of that. But also, beginning Monday, a lot of basketball tournaments kicking off here, holiday tournament extravaganza. And we will be all over the place, so be sure to be tuned in here on HS Game Time for all the coverage from that, along with our football coverage. So for now, we hope you are enjoying your holiday. We'll let you get back to your turkey and football.
Eat it.
And we will see you next time.